Well, surprisingly enough, it was very good. I had a really good life. I've got a house, I've got kids, I've got a wife, and you know, everything was good, but there was something missing. And I think you'd have to understand a little bit about me and about what I'm like to understand why I couldn't make that step for, you know, to take on a faith of some sort. And that's because I'm a very scientific sort of person. I have to see things working, I have to see evidence, I have to see, you know, you push this and something happens. So, if you like, that was a bit of a barrier to me to ever having some form of faith. Right, I suppose this faith business, I always used to think that for anybody who was a Christian, it was because they couldn't cope. They needed some sort of crutch to rely on. And for me, with my life, I felt I'd got it, and I didn't need that sort of commitment, that faith. I just felt I was doing all right on my own. Thanks very much. Okay, if I had an hour, I could go into the full story, but basically, in my family, we had a big problem. It wasn't to do with me, it was to do with my brother, and he got to a point where basically he needed somewhere to stay. He needed a place to go, and he didn't have anywhere. And strangely enough, my brother-in-law had a house that he was trying to find somebody to fit into. So brother needed a house, brother-in-law had a house, and just the two things came together too easily to sort of be coincidence. And that really got me thinking about, you know, is there somebody pulling strings? Because everything seemed to be falling in just a little bit too easy. So, anyway, cutting a long story short, Jane invited me to the church to see our kids who were in a boys' brigade thing, and they played a song that said, "Father, I place into your hands my friends and family." And as I heard it, the hairs on the back of my neck were standing up on end, and I knew that there was something, but I still didn't know what. At the end of the service, somebody said, you know, come and see me, the vicar, and I thought, yeah, I will. And we arranged to meet about 3 or 4 days later, and I went to his place, and he sat me down and he talked about Christianity, what it meant, and at the end he said, "What stops you from becoming a Christian?" And I said, "I need some sort of sign." So he said, "I'll pray for you." And I must admit, I felt really hypocritical about the whole thing, but I let him pray. A few days later, well, in fact the next day, I went to work looking for somebody to give me this sign. I went up to Christians that I knew in the hope that they'd give me this sign. Nothing. I used to do some voluntary work, and it involved going and doing a duty in the evenings. And as I walked in, a friend of mine walked out and said, "Is your job all right?" I thought, what's he on about? And he said that he'd heard that there was a load of redundancies at my place where I worked. I thought, well, that's something. So when I finished my duty, I went home, stuck the TV on, and there was the last bit of the news, just before the local news. And they got this story about spring harvest. It had been Easter, and they got this little clip to finish the day. And I watched it, and there was this guy they were interviewing, a guy called Mike, who came from Hastings. Not just any Mike, but a Mike that I worked with day in and day out on the TV, talking to me and saying how good it was to be a Christian. And that was it. I couldn't not believe in God anymore. Well, it was good, and it got a lot better. I've done so many things I would never have ordinarily done. I've been in church for 20 years, 10 years of it I ran a youth club, so I had lots to do with young people. God very definitely moved me out of my job, took me to university, trained me up to become a teacher and has put me in a job in Hastings teaching, and I know that's God. I know that He's got a plan for me, and I know that at the moment I'm doing what God wants me to do. Okay, one verse that really inspires me comes from Ezekiel, and it's the story of the dry bones, and it always reminds me that my life could have been like that, dry and empty, and it's not. It's full, it's exciting.